Like it was familiar with the real estate industry and investors a decade ago, flipping has become a rather peculiar term in the watch industry today. There are rumors that Rolex Authorized Dealers hate flippers. But while this might be true, some ADs apparently sell directly to smart flippers for quick kickbacks. There's also been a number of unsubstantiated claims that Rolex might be aware of the alliance between some of its ADs and flippers, but deliberately turning a blind eye to such transactions. Rumors of watch brands circulating blacklists of flippers are also becoming very common, but the real question is, do Rolex themselves have the power to actually ban you from purchasing their timepieces? While Rolex cannot directly blacklist you as a customer, its authorized dealers very much can. The Rolex market, in particular, is a very strange and contrarian market. Strange in the sense that quite a number of Rolex customers who are lucky and patient enough to get a Rolex wristwatch can immediately resell the wristwatches for a huge gain immediately after they step out from their local retail store. This unusual market opportunity has for a while been tempting a few Rolex buyers to resell upon buying any of the brand's timepieces for a quick profit. These people are now officially known as flippers and have made the process of securing a desired Rolex model extremely difficult for genuine watch enthusiasts. A large number of Rolex watches now have a so-called waiting list, due in part to the activities of these flippers within the market. Many Rolex models now sell for 2 to 3 times their official retail prices on the gray markets that are allegedly kept running by flippers. This rather delicate situation has made Rolex Authorized Dealers, as well as the brand itself, increasingly frown at flipping any of its timepieces. Flipping new Rolex watches that you're lucky enough to get from an authorized dealer as a customer has become a very sensitive issue, and could eventually see you make it onto their blacklist. Rolex itself, as a luxury watch brand, and its authorized dealers have been working actively to curtail the activities of flippers and to prevent people from reselling Rolex watches at exorbitant prices the best they can, with authorized dealers wielding the ultimate power of deciding which customers get blacklisted. In Rolex's retailer contract with its dealers, it's clearly stated that Rolex watches should only be sold to their final users. So if you are to sell a Rolex watch shortly after purchasing it, will technically imply that you are not the final customer. But here's how you can get blacklisted even if you flipped the timepiece in the most secretive manner. The fact is, Rolex has a very effective tool for uncovering if you flipped any of their timepieces. One such mechanism is through the warranty that comes with every Rolex purchase, and since these warranties are transferable as Rolex wristwatches get sold to another buyer, the brand is automatically able to trace when the watch was picked up by its original buyer and just how quickly or soon after it was resold. And while Rolex is not a direct-to-consumer company, it does, however, immediately alert the retailer that initially sold the watch to you that you've just gone ahead and sold it to someone else. The Rolex ADs, in honoring their contract with the brand and safeguarding themselves from getting reprimanded or even outright suspended as a retailer by Rolex, would then very quickly put you on the blacklist of customers never to be sold to. Rolex ADs mostly learn of customers who have cultivated the habit of flipping timepieces sold to them and who are fit for long-term or permanent blacklisting from Rolex itself. Aside from uncovering flippers through the use of warranties, Rolex has reportedly started hiring people who surf the internet in search of advertisements for Rolex watches, especially brand new Rolex watches. These highly skilled set of individuals help Rolex search everywhere on the internet, including the dark web. They can uncover all relevant information about advertised Rolex wristwatches by looking out for 3 vital details in the advert. First is the serial number that's engraved on the rehaut of the timepiece. Second, the watch's warranty card, which displays its serial number. And finally, they look out for the seller's purchase receipt or just any other information that can help unravel when and where the original purchase was made. Rolex can identify the authorized dealer from whom the watch originated and get them to take action on the flipper, basically blacklisting you as a customer. To consolidate Rolex's effort in ensuring that the brand's timepieces do not find their way into gray markets, Rolex authorized dealers are now also looking online themselves to see if they can spot any watch that a flipper is trying to sell off for some abnormal gains. The number of Rolex authorized dealers who now actively scout the internet for customers trying to flip watches acquired from them has been on the increase. Some authorized dealers have even employed new staff for this sole purpose to enable them to take appropriate action once a flipper is identified. When these authorized dealers identify a flipped watch that originated from their store, they often blacklist the erring customers outright, or at the least inform them that they are aware that they have sold the watch, usually if the model sold isn't one that's in high demand. You might apply every caution while flipping a Rolex timepiece, but the brand and its authorized dealers would still be able to find out and have you blacklisted, even if this might take a longer time to discover. It's not uncommon that when people buy a Rolex watch from flippers, they head to the nearest dealership to check for the timepiece's authenticity. This way, the authorized dealer has access to the watch's serial number and can compare the name originally attached to that serial number to that of the customer who's brought it in for authentication. In case of a discrepancy, you as the original buyer can get blacklisted as the serial number would have exposed your identity. The same thing applies to watches brought in for servicing and repair. In this case, you can wake up to find yourself blacklisted by a Rolex authorized dealer 20 years after you flipped one of the timepieces that you'd originally bought from their dealership. Even if you sell the watch in another country, it doesn't entirely wipe out the chance of getting caught, thereby earning you a long-deserved blacklisting. The process of blacklisting will vary depending on the store, as every Rolex AD is an independent company that operates its business differently. Today, a large number of Rolex authorized dealers maintain a blacklist system and actively keep track of customers that have had the ill fate of being included in the list to ensure that at no point do they ever get sold to again. Once blacklisted, most retailers would outright ban you from being able to buy any wristwatch from them, and not just only Rolex watches. Others might just ban you from buying only Rolex watches, while some may blacklist you from buying only the hot models. While the approaches to handling blacklisting vary considerably among authorized dealers, the goal and purpose remain the same: to curtail themselves from selling watches to customers who have the intention of flipping. Rolex does not give any guidelines to its retailers on how to handle blacklisting flippers. Once blacklisted, you might get an email from your authorized dealer notifying you of the deed and that you are no longer eligible to be sold at their dealership. In other situations, you may not even get notified. The dealership would simply stop delivering watches to you whenever you place an order, or leave you unattended to on the waiting list forever. The clampdown on flippers is getting more intense by the day, but will blacklisting flippers actually help Rolex or its authorized dealers eliminate the secondhand markets?